We all want freedom, right? The power to make our own choices without anyone telling us what to do. But what if that desire is actually a trap? Today, we're diving into a really challenging idea, all from one person's story. What if, to truly be successful and happy, we actually need someone else to be in control? Everything we're talking about today really comes back to this one single painful sentence. Someone chased absolute freedom. They rejected all control from anyone. And the result wasn't this amazing, liberated life, it was total loss. This is a story about the devastating cost of having no one to answer to.
So that's the big question, isn't it? What really happens when we're completely on our own, with no one to answer to? If this author's experience is anything to go by, the answer is a lot darker than you might think. So let's break down how this all went so wrong. You see, this person's search for a life without control wasn't just a small bump in the road. It was a complete domino effect of failures. That one decision ended up costing them their job, a serious relationship, their car, and yeah, ultimately every penny they had.
And this is where it all ended up. Zero. Bankruptcy. A complete and total financial reset. And why? Well, as the author puts it, it's all because there was nobody there to control their mind. So how does that even happen? What's the mechanism behind that kind of self-destruction? Well, this brings us to the author's core theory. It's not about bad luck or bad economy. It's about what's happening inside our own heads. The argument is that our own minds, when we just leave them to their own devices, will actively trick us and lead us down the wrong path. Your own brain becomes the enemy. The author doesn't use some complex psychological term for this. They just call it the tricking brain, which, honestly, is a pretty perfect description. Think about it. It's that part of you that gets lazy, that avoids being held accountable, that ditches your routines, and basically acts on what they call tantrums. It's your undisciplined inner self just running wild. And this comparison just lays it all out. It's pretty stark. On the left, you've got a mind with some external control. It's accountable, it's disciplined, and you can actually enjoy life. But without that control, on the right, it's a mess. The mind just gives up, it makes the wrong choices, and ultimately, you become a puppet to your own worst impulses. So here's the crucial point. This isn't just some phase we grow out of. The author argues that this need for someone else to hold us accountable is a fundamental thing that we need for our entire lives, from the day we're born right up to our final years. And this need for control, it just kind of evolves with us. In childhood, it's all about building those good habits that set you up for life. As a young adult, it's about having some guardrails to help you navigate all that chaos and keep you from going down the wrong path. And then in adulthood, it's our partners and even our kids who provide that essential check, who correct our course when we start to stray. Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. The author takes this very personal need for control and applies it to all of society. The argument is pretty simple, really. If we each need it as individuals, then a society, which is just a big collection of individuals, needs it even more just to function. So what keeps society from falling apart? Well, according to this view, it all rests on three main pillars of control: our family, our employer, and the government. In this theory, these aren't seen as oppressive forces, but as necessary structures that keep all of our collective, tricking brains in check. I find this perspective on the employer to be really fascinating. It's not just about the paycheck. A job imposes a routine, right? You have to wake up on time, you have to work with other people, you have to behave professionally. According to the author, this very structure is what turns us into good social beings and prevents the kind of chaos that would happen if everyone was their own boss. To illustrate this, the author points to a pop culture example from the TV show The 100. There's a situation where a bunch of people are trapped in a bunker with limited resources, and a reluctant leader has to step up and impose really strict rules. Without that authority, they would have just descended into chaos and destroyed each other. It's a pretty dramatic example of this theory in action. So, all of this, it leads to one central conclusion about what it means to live a stable, successful life. It all boils down to a single, simple principle. So here's the author's solution laid out in 3 steps. First, you have to find someone to answer to: a partner, family, a mentor, whoever. Second, and this part's key, you have to allow them to hold you accountable. And third, this is the payoff. That external check is what protects you from your worst impulses, and that's what actually frees you up to truly enjoy life. Which leaves us with this final provocative paradox. Could it be that what we think of as freedom, that total unchecked autonomy, is actually its own kind of prison? And that maybe, just maybe, true freedom is found by willingly submitting to some form of control? It's a challenging idea to sit with, for sure. The author leaves us with this powerful analogy from the Ramayana. The great King Ravana believed he was superior to everyone and that he answered to no one. He lost to his own mind, he refused to listen, and in the end, he lost everything he had ever built. A timeless cautionary tale about the ultimate danger of an unchecked ego.